Hello yogis, and thanks so much for watching. Sorry I've been gone for a while, but I've been extremely busy preparing my retreat schedule for next year, which is all available on my website now. So maybe if you want to come and join me for a retreat, you can have a look at that. Anyway, today I am making a video on probably one of the most misunderstood yoga poses in the history of yoga, which is quite big. And I called this video the most difficult yoga pose in the world because of that reason exactly. So the posture I'm talking about is downward facing dog, and I know that we all practice it. In every class that we go to, downward facing dog is there. It's part of the sun salutation. It's a very important pose, and unfortunately it is often taught in a wrong way and often misunderstood by those who practice it and even teach it. So not trying to say anything bad about any other yoga teachers, because everybody is great, of course, but I do see it going wrong very, very often, and even with people who have done yoga for many, many years, they seem to still not get what this pose is about quite yet. So therefore I'd like to make a little tutorial and explain to you the benefits of downward facing dog, the aims and the most common mistakes and how we can fix them. So let's get started. For downward facing dog, we always start on hands and knees, and we make sure that the hands are below the shoulders, or they can be a little bit forward, and the knees are below the hips. Now we want to make sure that the hands are pressed down firmly with the fingers spread as wide as possible. So when we don't use the hands, obviously all the weight will go into the wrists, and that is why during yoga classes we often see people doing this and saying, oh, I can't go any further, my wrists are hurting. That is because they are not using the hands properly, and the hands are really a foundation of all poses. If you want to do handstand, if we want to do elbow balance, if we want to do downward facing dog, any posture which involves the hands, which are mostly arm balances, hand balances, and downward facing dog pose, just needs strong hands. So it takes time to build up the strength, because nowadays we really have forgotten how to use the hands properly. Anyway, hands firmly below the shoulders, fingers spread, weight into the fingertips, so not into the wrists, and shoulders rotated nicely outwards, away from the ears, and then we can curl under the toes, keep the spine nice and long, stretch or move back, press the hands, and come to downward facing dog. And coming out the same way that we went in. Now you can see when I do this pose that my spine really is straight. Yeah, there's no curving in the spine, there's no hanging in the spine. My tailbone is really lifted up towards the ceiling, and the spine is nice and long. And this is really the way that we should be practicing this pose, because in the end, what is yoga about? It is about spinal alignment when we look at the physical aspect of it. Yeah, we want to align the spine and stretch the muscles, but the spine should never ever be compensated. So that is always number one, spine. Yeah, whether we're stretching it or twisting it or doing anything else, we want to make sure that that spine is nicely aligned. So what I often see happening with downward facing dog is that because people have short hamstrings, so not enough length here in the back of the legs, that they are rounding the back like this. So the spine is being compensated. There's too much weight in the hands and in the shoulders, not enough in the feet and legs, and the spine is round. Now we definitely want to avoid that, and the only way to fix this problem is by bending the knees, because that takes the pressure off the back of the legs, and that way we can lengthen out the spine. Now again, it doesn't really matter how far you have to bend the knees, as long as you focus on spinal alignment. And in the end, when you practice yoga year after year or after a while, those hamstrings, these muscles here in the back of the legs, they will stretch out. So eventually you will be able to do that pose and bring your heels nicely down to the floor. I couldn't always do that for sure. So bending the knees in the beginning is just important if you feel that you are rounding the back. Yeah? Now another thing that we are seeing is with these over flexible people who can actually bring their heels down to the floor and who are just flexible by nature, usually this is girls, I must say, it happens to a lot of girls, is that they tend to just hang in the pose. So they just want to bring their chest down to the floor. Even when I do this, my hands are sliding, funnily enough. But this is not a very sustainable posture. Because in the end, what happens when we hang, first of all, the spine is completely crooked when we do that. That's what you could see. Second of all, the shoulder blades are we are hanging in the center of the shoulder blade, so the upper back gets very cramped. It gets compressed. And it's not a very nice thing. It doesn't feel nice. And over time, you can imagine that if you do this day after day, and you're doing your Ashtanga practice, or you're doing your regular practice, your Vinyasa practice or whatnot, it will not benefit your body for sure. It will not strengthen it, and it will not align it. So actually, you're going to have the opposite effect while you are practicing yoga. So the only way to fix this, again, is to make sure that the spine is straight even when we are moving back already. And from here, keep those shoulders away from the ears, drop the head, and really focus on bringing this in. Rather than letting it hang out like this, you want to bring it together. So you don't want to hang in the chest. Keep compactness in the upper body. And down. Okay, so maybe according to this video, you will be able to determine what kind of practitioner you are. Do you lack flexibility, or are you overly flexible? And maybe you can take some steps to improve your downward facing dog pose. I hope this video was useful to you, and if you have any suggestions as to which poses you would like to learn, or if you would like to learn more with me, make sure to subscribe to my channel. And please make sure to give this video a thumbs up, and I hope to see you soon. Thank you so much. Bye!